Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Raquel Villalta, and I'm a candidate for LA Unified School Board District 3. I've been a teacher for over 17 years. That's my passion. I believe that that's my calling. But I'm leaving the teaching profession because I want to be the voice for the little ones, for the parents, for the taxpayers, for the mothers. And as a mother myself, I want parents to have a voice in the school board, to have a voice on what's going on, because I know that those policies affect our children and the other 400,000 other kids that are in our district. I've worked with LAUSD for over 17 years. I was actually a product of LAUSD. I graduated from LACES in District 1. I went to LAUSD my entire life, and it was such a pleasure and to be able to go back and work in the district where I once got my own education. And so that was honestly a dream come true. I had a wonderful experience until the district violated our constitutional rights and pulled out excellent teachers because of their religious beliefs and their stance on vaccination and mandate policies during COVID. And so I'm no longer working for the district, but I'm thankful because that actually gave me the motivation that I needed in order to run for school board. I saw a lot of things that needed to change, and I am running to just protect the kids, to make sure that we are giving our kids the quality education that they do deserve. From a parent's perspective, I have 2 children in LAUSD, and I believe that our schools are failing. LAUSD is currently in a huge crisis, and it is time for change. And so that's why I'm running.
Okay. The NANC has asked the LA City Council to support the passage of the proposed LAUSD resolution, improving special education within the LAUSD. As a board member, what would you do to support children with special education needs, particularly those whose disabilities are severe?
Thank you. So our students with special needs are very important to us. We want to make sure that we're supporting them, supporting their parents. Number one, we have to stop muzzling the parents with the non-disclosure agreements that we currently have. It's important that our special need community, that they work together, that they share ideas, that they support each other. And that disclosure agreement really limits them in their ability to talk and to figure out what's best for their children. We want to make sure that we're allocating the funds to make sure that they have the resources that they need, that we're following IEPs, that we're following the minutes, that we're giving them the material and the resources that they need. If the students have severe needs, we need to make sure that we hire qualified staff who've been trained to properly care for our children. They deserve an education. Those are our kids who are most in need. We want to make sure that we're using the resources and the money that we have in order to help them and to help that community, to help those parents, because they're the ones who are mostly in need. And so we want to make sure that we're serving them correctly and properly.
Thank you. The NANC has expressed concern over charter schools' $3,708,006 unpaid balance for over-allocation fees. As a board member, how would you bring transparency to how space in public schools is allocated to charter schools?
Okay. Well, it's very unfortunate that we do have that debt that hasn't been paid back. I am, and I believe in giving parents right to choose. I'm a supporter of charter schools, and I believe that parents should have a say where and where they send their children to be educated. Ultimately, it's about educating our children. If the charter schools are not paying what they owe, then obviously we need to do an audit. We need to be transparent. We want to make sure that we take the legal path to make sure that debt is paid. But, to close those schools down would mean that many kids and are left without a proper education. And so we know that charter schools, they foster healthy competition because those charter schools allow schools to compete, right? And when you're competing, you're improving the educational quality, and you give the parents choice that they can go to a school, an institution, regardless of someone's zip code. And so we want to make sure that we have those charter schools open and available. Now, if they're violating the rules, if they're not paying and if they owe, then we need to make sure to keep them accountable. We want to make sure that they're following policy and that they're being compliant and that we're investigating to make sure that our kids still have that option to attend charter school if that's what the parents decide. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you. In September 2022, it was revealed that the LAUSD's computer system had been hacked. Despite assurances that personal information had not been released, later reports showed that sensitive information for some children had been disclosed. As a board member, how would you ensure accountability for the failure to prevent the hack and for the missteps in the aftermath?
Thank you. So unfortunately, the hack obviously affected our students. Everything's going back to our kids. We had our virtual academy. The kids could not attend school for days, some even weeks. We had kids that couldn't have access to Schoology. And so it was a failure to make sure that we didn't have a strong policy. And I know that the district has corrected their mistakes. We did implement the multi-factor authorization, so that's important. Our incumbent shared that they have a security training that's been purchased, so that's great. And so hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we want to make sure that we are protecting our kids, protecting their information. And, unfortunately that hack hopefully doesn't happen again. But since we're talking about protection, I want to talk about school police. Another thing that the district did is that they got rid of our school police in our secondary campuses, and we need to bring them back, right? Protecting our kids, making sure that they're protected, that we have police officers. Right now, we've seen a huge increase and an upward trend in crimes, right? We've had stabbings, we have drugs in our schools, and we want to make sure that we reinstate those police officers. Security is important. Cybersecurity is important, but also the security of our students, the security of our staff members, and to make sure that we have an environment that's conducive to learning.
All right. 1 minute for closing.
Okay. So hopefully, you can put your trust in me. I am not running as a career politician. Like I said, my passion and my love is teaching, but I'm stepping out of that field because I believe that kids need to be protected. We want to make sure that we retain parental rights to choose what is being introduced to our children, when it's being introduced, to make sure that the parents have a say in the curriculum selection process. We want to make sure that we bring back our school police, that we are allocating our funds correctly for those who are in need, right? Which are our special needs students, our underperforming schools. We want to make sure that we are protecting the rights of our staff members, the religious rights. And unfortunately, Granada Hills shut so many of our students out. And so we want to make sure that we are protecting the kids, protecting the right to an education, and just protecting our first constitutional right to decide what is best for us. And so we just have to make sure that we increase student achievement. That's also very important. Our scores are even though we have a huge budget. Thank you.